That is right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of With All Due Respect, a Finals Week 3 edition. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Week 3 of Finals, 4 teams remain. The top 4 remain from the regular season, and they'll be competing for a grand final spot this weekend. As always, brought to you by the Village Sport Balmain. Daniel, thoughts over the weekend? Initial rugby league thoughts?
Look, I'll be honest. I was happy to see the chooks bow out.
Yep.
And I wasn't surprised to see the Warriors pump Newcastle either.
Well, Daniel, in saying that, let's get straight into the headlines. Did you want to kick us off? What have you got coming out this week?
My first headline is that the chooks are out to your beloved Melbourne Storm.
Yep.
Look, the chooks season, it's hard not to be impressed as they went from 14th to literal seconds away from prelim final. However, should they have been in that position in the first place, in 14th? No, they shouldn't have been there. So do you deserve to be at the top of the mountain after you should have been at the top of the mountain and are at the bottom? No. But the thing I noticed in the game was Melbourne is so dominant, and then it's like there's a moment where they just let up, and then the Roosters just pounced. Would you agree? What were your thoughts on the game?
The last 10 minutes of the first half, we looked very vulnerable, very weak. They were rolling through us. And they did that as well to start the second half. I was like, this is going to be a very long night, a long second 40. But I think that the switch in, and we're going to get straight into this, the switch in momentum may have come down to the officiating. Now, this has been the biggest headline from the week, was the Ashley Klein officiating performance. Yes, refereeing is a very tough, probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. The pressure to make decisions, very fatigued at a high pace. Now, the Harry Grant knock-on is the first one. Now, as Andrew Johns always says, the game's already played in slow motion. Yes, Ashley Klein was right there. He could have seen it was a knock-on.
I think you don't need slow motion for that one.
You don't need slow motion for that one. But the thing that pisses me off is that, yes, he made the wrong call. Yes, he then apologised to Roosters captain James Tedesco that he had made the wrong call. But at the time, the Storm had a 5-1 penalty count. They led that. Now, it's obvious that if a referee makes a decision that wrong, they're going to make up for it.
Which is so dumb.
Which is dumb.
That's exactly what I was saying during the game. After that drop ball, the Roosters had 3 set restarts in a row.
Yeah.
There's no point trying to even it out. Yeah. You have to own your mistake.
But it's always going to happen. And I'm not pointing out Ashley Klein specifically, but he is a Parramatta junior, Daniel. We've been through this before. He may be a bit, iffy and pissed off about the Parramatta season that they had, reflecting on his decisions throughout the game. But that's the only thing that really pisses me off, is that not just this game, but if a referee makes a wrong call, there is room where he does make up for it to the opposing team.
It's just stupid.
It's stupid. And as well, everything happens for a reason, Daniel, and the rugby league universe is crazy, because that Harry Grant knock-on then led to him in the dying moments of the game getting hit in the face by Sam Walker fist, which was not called upon by the officials and or the bunker. Yes, Harry Grant did milk it a lot. Stayed down for quite a while, but the replay showed a flush hit across the face. Should have been a penalty, but, that wasn't a penalty, and Storm then lead to score when he tried in the corner with W.A.D.R. Now, the Storm hung on, Daniel, in the end. As I said, it was very stressful. Tyron Wishart should never attempt a field goal again in the rest of his career.
That was very, very concerning, yet funny to watch.
Now, I'm not putting that on Tyron completely, but if I'm Harry Grant, I'm not passing him the ball in the first place.
Exactly.
Nick Meaney was about 5 metres to his left, could have made the pass to him. Nick Meaney, obviously not a better chance, not the best chance, but a better chance than Wishart. Penrith next week, Daniel. Yes. Penrith this week, sorry. Now, it seems to be the impossible task.
You want to know I've got written down? Melbourne better start praying. Melbourne better start praying.
Okay. Why should we start praying?
It's going to be tough. I think W.A.D.R is Melbourne's man.
The W.A.D.R,
week.
The W.A.D.R to River matchup.
Yes, exactly to River. Melbourne will probably need a W.A.D.R hat trick, to be honest, if they're going to try and defeat this Penrith side.
Yeah.
Look, the fact that it's not in Penrith is a positive
100%
for Melbourne. But still, I don't think Penrith are a side that... Would they like to play in Penrith? Yes, but would they be that affected by the fact that they're playing at Accor instead? still a home game. No.
Well, I'm relying purely on PTSD, Daniel, from the Penrith Panthers. Obviously, the last time we versed the Panthers at a core was the 2020 Grand Final, I believe. We won that game. We were the underdogs. This week, it's a similar circumstance. We are heavy underdogs. I think we were $5 on Sportsbet to win this match.
But that game you won when you were the underdogs, you had the likes of Cameron Smith.
Still, I think we came into the game
Ryan
around the $3 mark. We came around the $3 mark. That Nathan Cleary injury yesterday was announced. Obviously, it's not a big issue no more, but
nothing.
My eyes did light up. Once I saw that news, I was like, holy shit, maybe the gods are on our side this weekend. But as you mentioned, a core helps. I think Jerome Hughes has to be fit. I think they're going to name him. They're going to name him and give him every single
if
second
Jerome
up
Hughes
until
doesn't
kickoff.
play,
We're fucked. It's over.
Cancel the game. It's over.
Well, I obviously have some type of belief as a Melbourne Storm fan, but it's going to be highly unlikely. I just hope we have a good crack. Let's just have a good crack. It's the top 4 teams left in the club, and if the Storm, dare I say, do win this weekend, the grand final against a Brisbane side or a Warriors side, we're every chance. So
very true. I think if you could, I'm going to go out and say I think whoever wins Storm Penrith wins the comp. Realistically,
could
though,
be the end of it.
Because I don't think you don't see teams like Brisbane beat Melbourne round in the first round of the finals. You got flogged. That doesn't happen twice.
Nah,
you know what I mean.
Not in the grand final setting as well.
Exactly.
Daniel, I've got the next. Obviously, let's go through the Warriors game. What a performance from in front of an electric crowd. I do somewhat feel bad for the Knights though.
I don't. I think they absolutely weren't up for it.
I feel like the last 8 weeks. What was it? 9 games in a row, 8 games in a row, whatever you want to call it. Did they deserve a result like that? I'm not too sure. I think they deserved it better. Obviously, they got blown off the park in the first 12 minutes. It was like 16-0.
16-0, exactly.
But you got to give credit to the Warriors. They did a great job of shutting down the main man, Kalen Ponga. Only ran for like 100 meters, had very nil attacking influence on the side. What do you think of it?
Just watching the game, I thought you can't. The first 20 minutes, the Knights was so shaky, so unready for it. I think in the first 9 minutes they had one set.
Yeah,
close to that. But look, against a side like New Zealand, you just can't let that happen.
Nah.
To go 16-0 down, yes, they did have a decent fight back for the rest of the first half. It was a decent arm wrestle between the two sides, but at 16-0, the game was already gone.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to score 16 consecutive after that. The Warriors players, their mental would be so high after that. They know they're winning that game.
Especially with the crowd. I mean, it's pretty much nearly going to be impossible to win a finals game in the future, like the years to come. If they keep getting back into the top 8 and having home finals, it's going to be probably one of the toughest tasks in the league to go there and win.
The Warriors are like the Knights just... I wouldn't say that would happen to every side. The Knights just were so rattled by the situation, by the circumstance. When I think the worst part of that 16-0 run at the start was the Knights shifted it to the right and Gamble should have taken the tackle and just throws it to Gagai, and Gagai does the same. Should have taken the tackle, just throws it these crap passes out to Dom Young. Dom Young actually caught it on the side of his head, and then he gets tackled out. That really showed me how rattled they were.
Pressure does some weird
things. The players didn't want the ball.
Well, pressure does some weird things. For me, I know I wouldn't want the ball in that environment and against running up against Fanua Blake and Toh Harris and co. Obviously, that Fanua Blake's try as well. The footwork, he is a freak. The footwork left Campbell very dazed.
Yes, it did.
And it was great to see the big man's move. What have you got next coming up?
Next one is looking forward. We've already touched on it a little bit. Looking forward to next week.
Yep.
Look, Panthers and Brisbane are obviously the
heavy favourites.
Extremely heavy. And as I've already said, Melbourne better start praying. And obviously the Warriors, are on a high after last week.
Very high. Very, very high.
I think they're going to need their game of the season to make this to win at Suncorp in a prelim. I guess the Brisbane side that's had the week off. Look, I don't want to be a bit disrespectful here, but I think Kevy and the Brisbane Broncos knew that they would be playing the New Zealand Warriors. I think they have been preparing for the Warriors for 2 weeks.
Perhaps. But it'd be interesting to see how the Broncos, obviously a young squad, haven't been in a prelim for a long time with the squad they have, how they perform after having the week off.
But the Broncos have those. It's like it is a young squad, but then they have players like Reynolds and Capewell that have been there before to level the younger boys out. You could say the exact same thing for New Zealand. How many New Zealand players have been in a prelim? Who? Chance, Sean Johnson.
Very little. Very
That's
little.
about it.
But they played last week. And as well, the Warriors actually played last week like they had the week off. They were that fresh, that energized. I think they'll come out the same this week. The game will be won in the first 15 minutes. If the Warriors can do what they did last week against this Brisbane side, they'll be rattled. They'll be the rattled.
That is exactly. That's a really good point. The Warriors will be looking to, catch Brisbane off guard, make them think, make them second guess their game plan, make them think, are we actually going to win this game? If you could get some points on the board in the first 15, 20 minutes, like you said, it could be a shocker for Brisbane.
And okay, well, let's move on to
that's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
I would like to go first.
Go for it.
Moving on from my Warriors, Brisbane points we've just made. I've got the Broncos to win this week.
Yep,
I do, but they won't win by more than 12. Looking on Sportsbet, the 13 plus for Brisbane is currently paying $2.05.
Wow.
While 1 to 12 is paying $2.85.
Okay. So you've got Broncos 1 to 12.
Yes, it's a prelim final. Warriors are coming off a massive win. They're going to be, elated that they're actually in the prelim. They're going to be that hyped up for it. If you think they're going to get pumped, I think that's ridiculous.
Okay.
I don't think I'll be honest, I don't think this is that hot of a take. I was very surprised to see those prices.
Yeah.
And I think Brisbane will look, I'm not saying they're going to play crap. The Brisbane are going to play how Brisbane play. But New Zealand are going to play how New Zealand play. And people are forgetting that that's electric and that's a style of football that catches the good teams out. And look, it exposed Newcastle last week, like we've talked about. And look, like you've just said as well, if they could, that first 15 minutes is going to be crucial. And if any team's going to get to an early lead, I think it would be New Zealand, because the Broncos would be, settled on their game plan, settled on what they need to do, and New Zealand are just going to come out and try and ruin that.
Do everything in their capable hands, Daniel. My take this week is not really my take, but this take is from an international analyst. This take is from an international analyst all the way from Papua New Guinea, Daniel.
Wow.
Peter Degany Jr., I hope I've pronounced that correctly, Peter, is a prevalent Facebook user who analyzes basically the Melbourne Storm performance every week, most particularly Justin Olam's performance and involvement in the match. Now, his take this week was after the Roosters Storm game, he said that Munster and Hughes purposefully keep the ball away from Justin Olam left edge on a week-to-week basis.
Interesting.
Now, he wrote a whole essay, I'd probably say around 1,000 to 1,200 words total, pastel paragraphs and all. Here's a few key points I picked up, Daniel. These are his words, not mine. Munster, based on the game on the weekend, Munster sees Olam's dominance as a threat to his own influence on the game. As a result, he intentionally orchestrated the downfall of Olam, keeping the left edge away from the ball.
Very, very biased.
Now, obviously, Olam has been dropped for a majority of the season. Obviously, a former Dally M Centre of the Year. The next one. Munster and Hughes have deliberately kept the ball away from Olam, denying him the opportunity to showcase his skills. Now, next, it is important to note that despite Munster and Hughes' evident dislike towards Olam, it is purely a professional rivalry. This strategy not only serves to protect their own positions on the team, but also allows them to maintain control over plays and dictate the overall flow of the game.
Peter's kind of insinuating that if they give Olam the ball and he showcases his skill, he could be taking Cameron Munster's number 6 jersey.
Well, he's also saying that Olam is the next potential greatest player of all time the rugby league world has ever seen. My thing is, I think we get paid on 360 as soon as possible.
We should get paid on here.
Or on here. But as well, someone did also mention how the Justin Olam pass to Cameron Munster before he did kick for Warbrick did win them the game. That pass itself did win the Melbourne Storm the game.
Yes, so did the kick.
Yeah.
And the catch.
And the catch. And the put down. But obviously, Pete, he has his own opinion.
And he's entitled to it. Yep. I don't know about the, threatening Munster and Hughes' position though. But I can't imagine how, after hearing those, I can't imagine how frustrated Peter would be after Olam being dropped for the likes of young Tonomapia.
Oh, he would have been livid. He would have been livid.
I've talked to you about this personally. I was one that was a bit confused by it as well. And as I think you were too, because Tonomapia is quite a questionable player. Yep. Tonomapia is the type of player that the Tigers respect. I was going to say wouldn't play for the Tigers.
No, the Tigers would sign him on about 800K per year.
He wouldn't play for the Tigers.
He would play and he'd be paid.
He wouldn't fit.
He'd be getting paid a lot.
He wouldn't fit the squad.
Anyway, Daniel, that was my take. Shout out to Peter. Obviously, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly again. But seriously, get him on 360.
Okay, now moving on, we're going to go into the JDS3, and obviously, look, in the light of the Ashley Klein performance, did you know he's actually been demoted?
Yep.
Yes. So we're going through the top 3 most controversial refereeing calls of the NRL era.
Let's start off with number 3 worst decisions we've ever seen. The hand of God. In the 2012 elimination final between the Cowboys and the Sea Eagles, Manly 5'8" Kieran Foran appeared to have knocked the ball forward while jumping and contesting a Cherry Evans bomb along with Cowboys star Jonathan Thurston. Foran would win this contest, setting up a Michael Oldfield try to put the dagger into the Cowboys. This would add to JT's unlucky final stints with the Cowboys, only for Foran to come out the next day and admit he had knocked the ball forward in the contest with JT. Even after replay, the try was given benefit of the doubt. The hand of God, Kieran Foran, has now possessed. At number 2, the short whistle. Just last year, the Tigers looked to have wrapped up one of their very few wins, going ahead 26-25 against the Cowboys, with just 1 second left on the clock. 1 second. The Cowboys then went to take a short kickoff, where there were calls that Kyle felt was escorted off the ball, disallowing him the chance to contest for the footy. Even though there wasn't a stoppage in play, the Cowboys were allowed to challenge the decision after the full-time whistle had been blown. Turns out, the whistle blown was a short whistle that doesn't actually signal for the end of the game, but for a short period where teams can challenge a last play call. Those poor Tigers would then concede defeat to a post-siren Valentine Holmes black dot penalty goal to take them into the lead, 27-26 victory. Now, at number 1, 6 again. The Ben Cummins 6 again call in the 2019 grand final between the Raiders and the Chooks has seen one of the greatest referee blunders of all time. The score was 8-all, and there was a contest for a high ball 10 metres out from the Roosters try line where the Raiders regained possession and referee Cummins signalling 6 again within seconds. Referee Cummins changes his decision, raising his hand and signalling that it was still the 5th tackle. Canberra's Jack Wyden took the tackle thinking he had a fresh 6 tackles. Instead, the ball was turned over, and that following set, James Tedesco would go on to score off a Latrell Mitchell line break, what would be the winning try in the 2019 grand final.
Wow, look, you just knew that was going to be number 1. Obviously donned the nickname Ben 60 and Cummins after that one.
Yeah.
And look, that wraps another episode of With All Due Respect. Give us your predictions for this week, seriously. If Melbourne are going to win, how much do they have to win by?
I think it's going to be 1 point.
1 point?
I think it's going to be 1 point. If we lose, like you said last week in relation to a game I can't remember, if we lose, it'll be ugly. I think if we lose, it's going to be ugly.
I actually said that about the Chook Storm game, which I was completely wrong about.
Yeah. What have you got?
I've got Penrith and Brisbane.
Okay.
You heard what I said about Brisbane. I think there's more chance of an upset in the Brisbane game. And look, I think Penrith and Brisbane are playing to see who gets the honour of getting beat by Penrith in the grand final. I mean, okay. New Zealand and Brisbane, are getting played to see who gets the honour of getting beat by Penrith in the grand final.
Yeah.
Penrith will get the 3-peat.
Hopefully not, Daniel. Have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the week of sports. More final elimination. It's nerve-wracking, but it's bloody good. And go to the Storm. Let's trot.